I'm just going to do my daily review today. I only took 2 trades today. So the first trade was on AMD, and I'll just go over these levels here as well. So again, the first thing I'm doing, like whenever we have like these, big gap up day. So I think AMD was up somewhere around 8 or 9% during the pre-market. So I'll just take the very high of the pre-market high and then just drag that all the way down to the prior day close. And this gives me a 30% pullback level. So I think 30% pullback is a healthy level to pull back to. So you can see that it did pull back to this level also in the pre-market. So not only is this a 30% pullback, which is a natural level for it to pull back to, it has already pulled back to this level and therefore created a level of support. So I'm just looking at this 48.55 level, and here's the bottom of the pre-market support as well. So you can see that on the open on the 1 minute here, and let me just like move this forward. So on the 1 minute, yeah, we just it sells off and comes into that level and then puts in an inside bar. I was really looking for like another inside bar and then a break of those on volume. And so what happened though is it really just took off, and you could really just see the tape speed. So definitely encourage you watching this sort of gap give and go. This is how these gap give and go strategy sort of works, is I'm looking for a pullback into support area, putting in at least 1 or 2 bars of support, and then volume to decrease during that pullback period, and then just a rip. And when it rips it really can go too. So the tape speeds up a lot. I tried to get on prior bar breaks. You see here I did not get even close to it. So that's how fast this thing ripped. And but it did just give that back that entire move as it came into the opening price was acting as resistance. But then it puts in a higher low, and I'm just like going to take a full risk here, so I didn't exit as it does this prior bar breaks. Sometimes I will, but I feel like today is just like one of those days where you want to give it the extra risk. So yeah, it comes into prior bar, it makes in a higher low, and then eventually it is able to get an opening range break. So you see this volume here is on the second highest volume, a third highest volume candle of the day. So opening range break. I'm just taking partial out into the top of that area. And so like we have a lot of resistance at 154. So if you look at the daily over here, let me get off all these. You see that the daily resistance here, this is the 200 SMA on the daily. In addition, if you look at this entire like weekly area, so this is in the like this one. Sorry, actually, I think yeah. Sorry, it's actually here. This whole area here. And this is on a weekly chart, right? If you look at this on a daily chart, it's even more evident. So not only do you have the 200 SMA that's as resistance, you also have this big daily area, like see all this stuff right here that's going to be acting as resistance as it was prior support. So really big level, and so I'm kind of nervous coming into this level, and so I'm just kind of looking at almost as a move to move. So I partialed out quite a bit here, and I took I think a quarter on each of these, and then when it pushed up and then failed again, I just took out half. And so really I just got out of my entire position around here. So it pushes up, is not quite able to test 154. 154 was going to be the big area that I know that a lot of traders are looking at. It's not able to even make it up there, and then just fails. And this is the loss of the 9 EMA. So I just exit this trade. So it's a pretty decent trade, and you can really see it really failed quite hard, which is not unexpected or not expected at all. This is like a gap fill. Yeah, just would not expect this. So anyway, I got what I could out of it. And yeah, just a really hard failure after a rejection of the 200 SMA. The other thing is that you have to understand is that AMD has been really relatively weak relative to its sector. So in the semi space, semis are extremely strong, whereas NVIDIA has really been weak since it had its blow off day back in March. And so let me just throw up the semis here so you can see what I'm saying. So uh, semis are pretty strong and AMD is really weak. So anyway, that was the first trade. I thought that was a good trade. Gap Give Go. It's been a little while since I've had a successful or really successful. That one, what really wasn't that successful either. Gap Giving Goes tend to sort of just are a move to move, at least what I'm seeing so far. So anyway, so that was the first trade, and then the second trade I took was NVIDIA. And so I took this as an opening range break, which I don't take opening range break trades very often. But again, with today being, NVIDIA actually went and touched $100.01 was the low that it touched yesterday. And then it ripped. You had AMD earnings, which was, what we traded today. In addition to, there was some restrictions, export restrictions removed from countries like Japan, in Korea, I think in Netherlands. So there was some positive like sector news as well. But this thing like really ripped off of $100, and it just bounced. So I think because you have some other things that are in play, I did end up taking this as an opening range break. So you can see that it touches here and then starts to get pretty tight, and then you see the volume spike. This wasn't as much as I would like this to be the number one volume bar, so it really breaks through. So it didn't, and I actually had my stop instead of the same candle here, which I know some traders will do. I took my stop was here. The main reason for that is I know Justin takes opening range breaks a lot, and so this was the same stop here. If you were to take this as an opening range break on the 2-minute, then your stop would be below here. It does come and retest it as a second chance, which is typically what I'm looking for. So a second chance off of the opening range break. But when it does second chance, yeah, I don't know. There just wasn't really a good entry for it. So I'm glad that I was able to get involved on this opening range. So we have a level of consolidation here, level of resistance, pops up, starts to struggle, and then so I just take half, and then it gets back below that prior resistance area, which I would think would act as support. It did come and retest it and then started to get above it and then failed it again. So I just got out of half there, and then it just kind of rips off at that level, and so I just take another half into this overextension, leaving the remaining position on for the loss of the 90 EMA on the 2-minute, which also coincides with the 21 on the 1-minute. So you can see what that looks like here. So this is the 2-minute, so very clearly loss of the 90 EMA on the 2-minute. So it started to rip, but really couldn't keep going. And this is also what I'm talking about, relative like sector weakness. Like this is the big move. So NVIDIA made a huge move off $100, and it has just been like basically holding and consolidating over VWAP the entire day, just doing a big bounce off of VWAP actually right now. And so if you look at this, NVIDIA is still up 11% on the day. Meanwhile, AMD is just like getting trashed. So when we talk about relative weakness to its sector, could not be more stark of a difference between these two. And I know that AMD is the go-to short. Whenever this sector is weak right now, traders will immediately just start shorting AMD because everyone knows that AMD is weak relative to its sector. Meanwhile, I'm over here shorting NVIDIA, and that thing will just fight and rebid, and it's very difficult to hold shorts in NVIDIA. AMD is so much cleaner; it doesn't really fight that much, and is just so much weaker. So that's why traders like to short it. Anyway, only 2 trades a day. This is the last day of the month, and I hit a very big goal for me today. Today, I was able to close the month for the very first time ever, being up an entirely daily stop. So I'm going to do a monthly review. My monthly reviews are extremely long, so I'm going to do a thorough analysis of this month and talk about some of the things that I think that led me there. But yeah, a very good day today. A selectivity. All right, a lot to cover today and not a lot of time to do it in. So we have AMD and the entire market. AMD has announced earnings. We have NVIDIA, pins. We have a bunch of I'm kind of erratic this morning. So watching PayPal for a view up continuation for a clean day 2. It did not have a clean day 2 yesterday. Serve finally looking for this meltdown of 14 on a multi-bar break. CRWD for a continuation. And then we have NVIDIA, who looks like it jumped the gun a little bit, being kind of crazy. And AMD is not pulling back. So AMD has some pretty significant resistance at this 154 level. CRWD is melting. Yeah, AMD is coming right back into this area. Wow. This is really failing hard into this area. So we do have AMD that is hanging out around this area. I would like at least one more, like an inside bar and then a break higher to do a gap give and go. There it is. There, that tape really sped up. You see that? So now we're back through the open. I want to see it just rip through the opening price. This would be another back through open. Not sure if people will be taking this, but this could be a back through open. Let's see how it reacts. Go check out everything else. AMD, NVIDIA is still not going. These are still at their lows. I'm just going to give this to its full stop. It could put in, like a higher low here. But there's definitely some buying, some tape speed that was going on. The Qs are starting to push now. Semis are starting to push. And let's see if NVIDIA can have support here. So you see that volume is really starting to subside. So I want to see this, start to push off and get aggressive again on the buy side, going long. So maybe like one more bar here where people are, we're at view up, and then just see it rip again, just like that velocity that it had before. It's not necessarily doing anything wrong like it is below view up right now, but we do have trend. It did put in a higher low, and so now I want to see it start to rip above view up and start to put in some volume while it's doing it as well. Some green prints, there we go. So that was the type of move, but I still don't see that volume coming through. So now we just basically have this wedge. We have the Qs, we have NVIDIA. CRWD did a reversal. All right, so we got this volume, a little bit of volume peak. Now this next candle, I feel like it should start to go and it should start to press the highs. And so this is the opening price here. Let's see if it can get back through the open. Justin's still not long, or Jeff has not been involved in this move. So back through open might get them involved. See, it's struggling at the opening price. There it is, a rebid off of VWAP. And then this should break through the open. There it goes. So we have like this as a resistance area, which is the high of day where it pushed off of. And then really 154 after that, I feel like is, the big question. We are looking pretty bullish here. It is doing an opening range. So here I'm going to have a question for myself. If this gets and does an opening range break here, which it just did, opening range break here, do I take a second chance off of the opening range break? This is a part of my core strategy. See, the Qs are pushing high, semis are pushing higher, AMD is pushing higher. We don't have opening range break on the NVIDIA yet, but I would like to see some sort of, extension. All right, I just took a quarter here and see if it can come up at 154. Otherwise, I would look for a second chance off of the opening range break. I think if I can de-risk a little bit here and capture some of those profits, then I can basically have a free trade on the second chance off of the opening range break. And we get another pop straight up to 154. That would be ideal. So I can just take more profits at that 154 level. It is really starting to... So I'm just going to take another quarter here. Keeping it light. See if I can get this 154 level. Qs are still pushing. Semis. NVIDIA is opening range break right now. So we might be able to use this power of NVIDIA doing an opening range break in order to get to 154. Meanwhile, Justin just went short serve. Oh, right into 17. Oh, man. All right, so I just took another half here. Probably shouldn't have done that yet, but it might pull. So I just feel like it's going to come back and do a second chance prior to coming into this 154 level. So I'm just kind of de-risking, getting ready for that. Trying to keep an eye on serve. I do want to get involved in it. And I ideally I would be able to get involved through a second chance off of the opening range break at 151.73. We're up 10%. And I didn't even throw an ATR in here. It's probably my bad. ATR is quite a ways away, so it's fine. All right, so I just took another half. You can see it's starting to sell like pretty hard. So I just have a small portion on. And now we're coming right into the 9 EMA, where it might do like a pullback here. I'm not going to buy at those levels though. Let's see, the market is kind of failing as well. So yeah, everything is kind of failing right now. So definitely would look for a, so this is a retest. And then I rebid off of the second chance. So the problem with this though, is like the second chance is really supposed to come in. Yeah, this is not what you want to see for a second chance. In fact, I think, Okay, so I just took another half here because I feel like, yeah, I don't really like this price action, and I like that it kind of popped up again. So I just have a very low amount of risk here. Basically, I'm all getting out at this level here, which is probably about 2. I don't even know what my risk is on this, but it's probably about 2R. And see if we can get back into 154. AMD is much stronger than NVIDIA right now. And let's see if it can come into 154. I only have 2 shares left. 154 is the 200 SMA on the daily, and also a very significant weekly resistance. So I expect there to be a lot of sellers in this area. And let's see if it can be a little bit stronger than that. It tried, and it looks like it's failing. I've taken profits on every single candle right now. It's ridiculous. Normally, I don't do that, but I feel like because the semis are kind of selling off, the market's selling off, and I don't like how it did a second chance. And then let me go take a look at Serve. So Serve is failing. Its RVO is like less than 2. I don't know. It just this whole thing. Okay, so I did quarter, quarter, half. I don't even know what the rest of these are, but it's trying. And then came right into the 9 EMA and bounced off it very aggressively. I don't know. I'm just gonna sell here at the. It did break through the 9 EMA. It's obviously struggling. And I just want to reset a little bit and move on to the next trade. And then serve. Uh-oh. So PayPal is not trading cleanly at all. So I'm taking that one off the list. Serve is still very much in play. It did try to rebid on higher volume. CRWD is also not trading very cleanly. And we have So we have 10 a.m. pending home sales at 10 a.m. and then Powell is speaking at 2 for FOMC. So I won't be trading at 2. Do you think you have this trend here? And I do want to see how it's the thing is like 14 is like the breakdown area. So Justin said he wanted to see a pop up into 17, which he exactly got, and then it failed. But this is going to like rebid. NVIDIA is doing an opening range break. This looks pretty clean. Alright, so I just took this as an opening range break. On NVIDIA, we want to see volume. Took this on small risk. Definitely see volume come in here. And Justin would take this at 1362, so just 2 cents lower. Whereas I typically will wait for an opening range break. I want to see volume, which we definitely got volume. And then a pullback. And actually the opening range is usually like, like a couple candles, like momentum. And then it'll slightly pull back into the opening range break price on lower volume. Tape speed is so crazy. It's up 10% today. I think this is a pretty decent like resistance area. I do think that Justin is not long NVIDIA, which I find strange. Normally he would take these opening range breaks. Maybe he didn't like the volume wasn't enough. Like there was a volume pop, but it wasn't like enough. So this could definitely be a candidate for a 9 EMA pullback. You see that 9 is really not being respected that much on the 1 minute, but on a 2 minute, it hasn't closed once below the 9 EMA. Now it's starting to get some momentum in it. It's definitely starting to stall. NVIDIA is a known rebidder. I keep talking about this. This is a crazy rebid that just happened. Let's see if it can hold though. AMD. This 9 EMA is holding, and then you can take this for a 9 EMA break. I don't really care for it. It didn't touch the 9 EMA, but you can see how the 9 EMA kind of creating this pressure, and then I expect that if this can hold, then the next candle should be very green. So this should be a green candle here. Hmm. Ah, he got what he was looking for. News at 10. So cues on here to see what's their buying is. It's really struggling at this area. Seeing a lot of green prints though. And market is pushing higher. Over 115. Nvidia's up 10%. Yeah, it just took half. I feel like it did make a big push and then it got above 115, and I just felt like it should push a little bit more, but it seems like it's struggling at these levels. Instead of just blowing right through them, it is struggling. And this was an area of resistance here, so I would expect it should turn support now. You're just taking half here. Its bids are starting to get hit. This level of support's not really holding up. PayPal is strong. Wow. Okay. I'll go set an alert for this thing. And then I'll just hold the rest until this 9 EMA break on the 2-minute. Wow, AMD. That is insane. Serve. Still holding. Wow, there's some buying. I had this level here before. I feel like this DAS keeps, you can see some of these levels are almost hidden, but there's definitely a daily resistance level here. The market is pushing higher and it is continuing to hold the 9 EMA. Just took another half into this. This thing is really ripping. Look at this candle. It's crazy. Some overextension. So just took half into some overextension. And then now really hold the rest for the 9 EMA break. Meanwhile, let's see. What is this curve? SPY. CRWD is trading like complete shit. MMM not doing anything. PayPal is still strong on increasing volume. Pins not moving that much. I feel like NVIDIA and PayPal are the two main watches. Guys, I will tell you, I don't like to talk about P&L, or I don't like to trade my P&L or think about P&L that much. But I will tell you that I just accomplished something I have never done before, which is I have made an entire daily stop in a single month, and this is the last day of the month. So I am not going to take this PayPal VWAP continuation just because I don't want to risk giving back my entire day. I feel like that would hurt my psychology, and it would do more harm than good. And having this big milestone win is more important for me from a psychology, profitable trader standpoint. So I am not going to. This is my last trade of the day. And I also might, because we came right back into and see the market is not selling off that much. NVIDIA is selling off more than you would expect. And NVIDIA is a known rebidder. So it comes into this 90 MA, comes into this support that it had before. Let's see if it can rebid off of this. And so now it starts to rebid a little bit. And now we have in a low. So if it breaks through this 165, and look at this, 64 to the penny. Look at this. Technical analysis works, folks. NVIDIA made this really big bounce off of $100.01. All right, so I'll just get out here and let's see, this is an area that is really, yeah, because it's on the 5-minute multi-frame alignment. And so, yeah, I'm just going to call it a day.